Now, growing up, I was taught the values of going to church, being respectful to the neighbors. However, when I got to the age of 10, I lacked that role model that I was looking for. I lacked that father figure in my life. I used to always tell myself, I would never be a drug dealer. I couldn't understand how someone can sell something to someone else when they knew that that product was only going to be harmful to that individual. I mean, for me, since I didn't have a father at home and didn't have a positive male role model in my life, I looked up to my brother Sam, who in turn looked up to the streets. So ultimately, the streets became my father. The streets became my role model. The streets became my guide. And the streets ultimately led to my destruction. Now, in 1994, a year after I was supposed to graduate in '93, I began to sell drugs and I got caught by the police. And it landed me a 4-year prison sentence in the Illinois Department of Correction. I was not focused on making any type of change. I was not focused on changing my behavior, changing my attitude, changing my way of thinking. Now, being sent home on house arrest, my mindset was still the same. You know, how can I get back into, doing the wrong thing the right way? So ultimately, even while on house arrest, I started back selling drugs. Now, one day, my house was raided by the police. Drugs, I had guns, I had everything in the house, money. The police raided the house, and this time I was not so lucky. I was not so lucky to receive a 4-year prison sentence. I took my case to trial, and I was found guilty of armed violence, and I was found guilty of possession of a controlled substance. I was sentenced to 18 years for armed violence. This is a familiar story. My story is not so different from anyone else's, especially for those individuals who have not had a desire to change, for those individuals who think that they can do the wrong thing the right way. And I was one of those individuals. So I went on appeal. I had an appellate defender who argued my case, but I lost my case in the appellate court. Now, one day while I was in my cell, I began to have a dream. Now, I've already established my relationship with Jesus, and I was already a new creature, and I had a dream one night. And in this dream, I was walking down the street, and I saw my oldest son's mother, and she approached me, and she said, "Karlton, how did you get out of jail so soon when you had all that time?" And my answer to her was, "I got a Savior." That was my response. And I woke up out of that dream, and I began to ask God, was it His will for me to go home early? And I just got peace in my heart that it was God's will for me to get an early release. I was excited about my new life and beginning my new venture, and it was a new beginning for me. It was a new beginning for me. It was a second chance for me, that God was granting me a second chance. He was giving me a new opportunity at life. He had changed my heart. He had changed my mind. I no longer desired gang activity. I no longer desired to sell drugs. I was a new person. I was a new creature. And standing before the judge, I stood before that judge as a new person. And she saw that. And she reduced my sentence from 18 years to 9 years. My prayer was answered by God. Over 9 years since I've been released from prison, and I'm still free. Not involved in gang activity. Not involved in drug activity. Not involved in criminal activity. I currently am involved in church activity, superintendent over my Sunday school department, working with our youth, motivating youth from the Kankakee County Probation Department, motivating those that are incarcerated in the Illinois Department of Correction, motivating those who are currently incarcerated in the Jerome Combs Detention Center. I am now going back into the very place where people came and ministered unto me. Now I go and minister to those who are incarcerated. I give back to those because somebody took time to give to me. You can make a change because I made a change. You will be free one day. And now what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your life once you're free? It all begins while you are incarcerated. Take this time. Educate yourself while you're incarcerated. Separate yourself from other individuals that are not trying to make a change in their life. Reconcile relationships with your children, with your loved ones, with people that mean the world to you. Make a change. Go back out and encourage people in your community. I did it, and so can you.